I grow strawberries everywhere because literally I can never have enough. There's one appendage on a strawberry plant that affects your productivity of this crop more than any other. And that's the infamous strawberry runner. Today, let's look at how we can take strawberry runners to make even more strawberry plants. As well, let's look at why we have to nip off these runners even if we don't want to propagate from them. First up, just what exactly is a strawberry runner? If you've ever grown strawberry plants, you've definitely seen them before. These long offshoots with tiny, perfectly formed miniature strawberry plants at the end are unmistakable. Maybe you've never paid attention to them, but maybe you've actually used them to grow new plants and expand your strawberry patch. Either way, I think it's beneficial to know exactly what a runner is before we make decisions on how to deal with them. Strawberry runners are correctly known as stolons, thus making strawberry plants what is known as stoloniferous plants. Sending out these stolons is a reproductive strategy of stoloniferous plants to spread and propagate horizontally away from the main plant. These new offshoots will root themselves and become entirely new plants that are genetic clones of the main plant. So knowing that runners are a reproductive strategy of the strawberry plant, and knowing that any reproductive strategy of any plant takes energy, we now have reason number one to remove runners as soon as we see them. If we want the maximum energy of our strawberry plants to be used towards producing us more berries, any activity that isn't directly involved with that is wasted energy. Thus making the removing of these runners as soon as they appear, as soon as we see them, as a high priority. It's simple. Think of these runners like you would a tomato sucker. A tiny offshoot trying to become a new plant, sapping energy from the main plant in the process. Waste of energy. Remove them right away. As we mentioned, these runners are destined to become the new genetically identical clones of the mother plant. And if we want to expand our patch and the main plants are not yet ready to be divided, taking these runners and making a new batch of strawberry plants is the easiest, most economical way to getting more plants for free. Strawberry runners, when they hit the ground, they begin to form these little bumps at the base of the new tiny plants. These are actually the beginnings of adventitious roots, and if left in place, the strawberry plantling will set down those roots and the new plant will actually begin to grow right on the spot. So if you're growing a strawberry patch either on the ground or in a large raised bed, this is how that patch can expand all on its own without you having to do very much at all. However, while the new little strawberry plants are still attached to the main plant, they will continue to be a drain and sap energy away from the production of berries that year. However, if you're like me and you want full control over your berry patch, or you grow the bulk of these in containers, you're gonna wanna continuously nip off these runners as you see them, as they show up, or if you're gonna use them to expand your berry patch when they're ready. Strawberry runners usually begin to appear in late spring or early summer. If I'm collecting them for propagation, I do wanna wait until I see the formation of those root nodules that we looked at before, because we're cutting off their lifeline, which is that stolon that leads to the mother plant. It's the forming of those little root nodules that shows us that these little plants are ready to live on their own. It shows us that we can safely cut off that stolon, that lifeline to the main plant, and plant these guys up, knowing that they're gonna take hold and become new little strawberry plants. You wanna cut the runners off at the base of the main plant, even though we won't be using the entire stem. If you're collecting many runners, or it's a particularly hot day, you're gonna wanna place these runners in a tray with wet paper towel or wet newspaper to keep them hydrated and alive. A typical strawberry mother plant will send out anywhere from 2 to 5 runners per year. You don't have to keep them all, just go through and select the best ones. After you've collected enough runners, we can now move on to planting them. I start all my runners in standard 4-inch nursery pots. First, let's fill up our pots with a quality organic potting mix. Any quality mix from the store will do, but for you DIY types, I'll throw a link in the description below on how I make my own DIY ultimate potting mix right at home. Fill the pots right to the top, compress them down about 25%, and then fill them back up again. Before we can plant, let's soak that tray from below for about 2 hours with around 2 liters of water. Now with our pots all set up, it's time to plant. I leave on about 1 inch of that stolon stem on either side of the young plant. Strawberries at any age hate to be buried, so that little stem will provide us with a great anchor to keep these plants in place. Simply dig in those stem pieces just below the soil and move on to the next plant. The runners are actually quite easy to pot up, and you can really start to see the cost savings as opposed to buying new plants if you want to expand your patch. These runners can live in these pots until spring. However, if you've collected and grown them early enough, you can plant them in the spot that you want to grow them in for next year if you can get them in at least 30 days before your first fall frost date. This will not only get the plants really established and alleviate a lot of the work that you need to do in the spring, it's also going to give you a massive head start on production. The strawberry runners themselves may actually send out flowering shoots. However, strawberry runners won't produce any reliable fruit in the year that they are born. So remove any flowering buds that they send out to maximize their internal growth so that you can get better, more productive crops in the following season. Similarly, you might find that the runners even send out runners of their own. It's quite amazing. You can treat these instances as 2 or more separate plants and just cut them off both for replanting. So let's recap. A major reproductive strategy of strawberries is to send out runners. They should always be removed from the mother plant as they are a drain on resources and thus productivity. They are super easy to pot up, and the earlier that you can get them planted and established, the bigger your next year's crops will be. But even if you're not expanding your patch, you still have to remove these runners. Because they are a drain on the mother plants, they will drain down your strawberry crop that season. Strawberry runners, what a fascinating life strategy. Used to your advantage, you can grow your strawberry patch and expand it many times over for literally no cost at all. Just when you think strawberries couldn't get any more awesome. Man. Here are the strawberry varieties that are featured in this video. Hey, thanks for checking out my strawberry runner tutorial. If you feel like sharing with and learning from other backyard gardeners such as yourself, consider joining our amazing Facebook group called Growing Better. Everyone is welcome. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you're getting value in this and the other series that I'm doing on YouTube, hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you in the next video.